Hey y'all, it's Danny with Escape Power Sports and welcome to another maintenance video. Today we're going to be changing the spark plugs on this Polaris 750 4-stroke turbo. And usually plugs are a quick and easy one beer job, but I'm thinking on this particular machine, it might take two. There's really only one way to find out. Let's get started.
But real quick, I wanted to show a before and after of how the sled runs, but I quickly found out the sled wouldn't even start to show the shaky idle, bogging throttle, and obvious difficulty starting symptoms. So let's see if the spark plugs did the trick for the bike. Well, hell yeah, looky there. To get started, we'll open the hood with these two rubber latches. Then we can start removing the airbox to get access to the first plug, starting with the air lid held down with these 6 clamps. And then we'll grab a set of needle nose pliers to pop these wire clamps off the airbox. At this point, I'll loosen the intake clamp on the outside of the box and just wiggle the intake off the manifold. But quickly realized this breather hose was still holding the airbox in place. And even had to pop off the side panel to push down on the tab below the fuse box, allowing me to slide it back enough to pull it up and out of the way. Now the intake box is out of the way enough to get to that first spark plug. Now we have access to the driver's side plug and can remove the two 5mm Allen bolts that hold the coil pack and plug boot in place. Now this boot can get suction and be on there pretty good, but with both bolts out, it should pop out by hand. Next we can grab our 5/8 spark plug socket and extension, making sure it's securely on the plug, and remove this spark plug. Now that little rubber seal that grabs the plug fell out of my spark plug socket, so I use a cheap magnet to get it out of there. And I also like to stick that coil pack back in the hole so no debris falls in the motor while we're removing the passenger side plug. And there's a couple options to get better access to this plug. We can unbolt the oil canister with these two Torx 27 bolts and move it an inch or so away from the plug. And unbolting this radiator fill tube with this 3/8 bolt is another option for additional clearance, and I chose to do neither, which is a decision I'd soon regret. Anyway, we'll repeat the plug removal process on the passenger side, starting with the 5mm Allen bolts holding the coil pack. With access so tight, I unplugged this boot and removed it completely to allow more space for removing the spark plug. Then removed this plug in the same fashion as the one before with the 5/8 plug socket, extension, ratchet, and eventually the magnet. Now the distance between the center electrode of a spark plug and the side electrode or the tip is referred to as the spark plug gap. And an incorrect gap can affect the way any machine runs, but this is especially true on this turbo. Good thing O'Reilly's had this spark plug gap tool for around $1 and was even able to pull up the specs for the spark plug gap on this machine. In this case, it's 0.028. To use this tool, we'll place the plug gap on the narrow side where the tool says 0 and slide the plug around to the correct size gap. Now unfortunately at this part of the video the cold caused my camera to malfunction, but fortunately my girlfriend was gracious enough to offer to film the rest of the video with her phone. So once our new plugs are correctly gapped, we can drop them in and carefully snug them up by hand, working slowly to ensure we don't cross thread the plugs into the motor. Now it's critical not to over tighten these spark plugs, and Polaris has the torque specs at 18 to 20 foot-pounds, but what I've done in the past when I don't have a torque wrench is go a quarter turn with the ratchet once it's hand tight to ensure we don't over tighten these spark plugs and strip the threads in the motor. So intuitively I want to lube these plugs up with anti-seize, but NGK insists on installing them dry, so I suppose we'll stick with the manufacturer's recommendation on this one. Now we can tighten our 5mm Allen bolts holding our coil packs in place to 7 foot-pounds, or in this case, a hair tighter than snug. Of course, repeat the same plug install process on the passenger side, where access is much more difficult and filming with a phone is nearly impossible. With both of our new plugs installed, all that's left to do is reinstall the airbox by sliding it back into place and securing the intake tube with a clamp. Making sure not to forget our breather hose, and wire holders, and fuse box, and air lid, and side panel. Finally, just slam the hood, curse the plug locations on this machine, and take her out for a rip.
So I hope you found the spark plug change video helpful. And if you did, or think it might be helpful for somebody looking to change the plugs on their Polaris Switchback, do me a quick favor and give the video a thumbs up so I know we're on the right track here.
Also want to apologize for the poor camera quality on the second half of this video. I'm not sure if it was the cold or what killed our DSLR here today, but we'll get another one ordered up and make sure we got good footage for the rest of the videos to come.
I'm Danny with Escape Powersports. I want to thank y'all for watching, and until next time, we'll see y'all on the trails.